anything that has played the most important role in our evolution, it has been water. If anything has played a role in extinction, it is water. If anything that is our life is water. If anything that is our end is water. Anything that we are made of is water. If anything that lifts our mood, that makes us a poet, that is water. If anything that is the cause of sorrow is water, our cause of woes is water. Water has many roles, constructive as well as destructive. Water is indeed our most vital resources. It is a resource because of certain of its properties. It dissolves and transports nutrients from the soil into the bodies of plants, dissolves and dilutes many of our wastes, serves as a raw material for photosynthesis for plants, and is a major factor in world climate and weather patterns. Thus, all life on earth depends on water. We may live a month without food, but only a few days without water. It will be an understatement to say that water is only vital. Much of water's usefulness results from the remarkable physical properties. For example, water has a high boiling point. Without this property, water would be a gas rather than a liquid at normal temperatures, and there would be no oceans, lakes, rivers, plants, or animals on earth. Water has the highest heat of vaporization of all liquids. This means that it takes a lot of energy to evaporate a given mass of liquid water. This is a major factor in distributing the sun's heat over the world. Water has one of the highest capacities to store heat of any known substance. This means that water heats and cools more slowly than most of other substances. This property of water prevents extreme climate temperature changes, helps protect living organisms from the shock of abrupt temperature changes, and effectively removes heat from electrical power plants and industrial processes. Water is less dense as a solid than as a liquid. Without this property, ice would not float on water, bodies of water would not exist, and the earth would be locked in a permanent ice age. Water is unsurpassed as a solvent. Water dissolves an incredible variety of substances. This enables it to carry nutrients throughout the bodies of plants and animals, to be one of the best cleansers, and to remove and dilute water-soluble wastes. However, because water dissolves so many things, it is also easily polluted. The water that is available to us is in two forms: groundwater and surface water. The groundwater is the water that has soaked and into the rocks and soils and are stored in aquifers. An aquifer is an underground layer of water-bearing permeable rock, rock fractures, or unconsolidated materials, that is, gravel, sand, or silt. This happens over a long period of time. These groundwater resources are too deep and sometimes out of reach of human beings. This can be extracted by digging wells or boreholes and installing pumps and tube wells or artesian wells. In the driest areas, however, this does not represent an inexhaustible supply. In case of depletion, it becomes very difficult, almost impossible to replenish. There are many well-known aquifers in the world. The Gangetic Basin, the Ogallala Aquifer in USA, and the Hamza Underground River in Brazil. The Ogallala Aquifer, one of the largest aquifer in the world, is in the United States. The Ogallala Aquifer is a shallow water table aquifer located beneath the Great Plains of the United States. Desalination plants have already been set up to obtain water by separating salt from the saline water by desalination process. The salty water of the ocean can be processed to obtain fresh water by extracting the salt. Salt can be extracted either by reverse osmosis, flash distillation, or electrodialysis. Apart from the fact that these processes are expensive, they may lead to ecological problems, particularly related to disposing of the extracted salt. The salt that is left behind after desalination, where will it go? Dumping in soil, river, or in oceans will create a high concentration of salt in that area, which will be deteriorating our environment. Thus, the grave ecological problem it will create will be of great concern. To meet the increasing requirements of water, towing of icebergs is suggested in some cases. But this idea is not free from problems. First of all, the technology is not developed, and even if some innovation do develop, it may not be economically and ecologically viable. There is also a common apprehension that towing iceberg may create weather disturbances apart from the ecological problems including climatic change. In recent times, cloud seeding is another way of getting water. The vapor in the atmosphere can be made to fall on the ground artificially in the form of rainfall. This is called as artificial rain, and it can be done by cloud seeding, that is, introducing silver iodide in the cloud. The problems arising from artificial rain is that it does not work in dry areas. It is economically unviable and also creates ecological problems. Sometimes the rainfall may not fall in areas they are intended to fall. As the world population grows, there will be greater demand of water, and to cater to that, bigger and more elaborate schemes would have to be thought of for distributing water to where it is needed. Each will bring its own problems. Alternative sources and innovative methods are to be searched and implemented. Conservation and better management of the available water resource may be the panacea to a great extent. Since we do not have to pay so much for the water we use, we take it for granted and think it is a renewable and infinite resource. Some governments even provide subsidized water for agriculture, even industries. Thus, how we can make people conserve water? For reducing present wastage of water, implementation of the following strategies would conserve considerable quantities of water. Measures to reduce leakage and evaporation from the dams are required. Up to 25% of runoff water are lost due to leakage and evaporation. Recycling water in industry should be promoted, where, for example, it takes 225,000 liters to make 1 ton of steel in iron and steel industry. Recycling of municipal sewage for watering lawns, gardens, golf courses could be implemented or extended, as Los Angeles has already shown. Introducing some more efficient toilet system which use only 6.5 liters for each flush instead of conventional 26 liters can save water at household level. Charging more realistic prices for irrigation water can save water. Judicious water supply with pricing will reduce unusual waste. Many farmers pay only 1/10 of the true cost of water pumped to them. The rest is subsidized by the government. When long-term water contracts are eventually renewed, prices could be raised to more economic levels. Extending the use of drip irrigation systems, which allocate specific quantities of water to the individual plants and which are 100 times more efficient than the open ditch system still used by the farmers, or sprinkler systems which are up to 10 times more efficient than open ditch irrigation. Changing from highly water dependent crops such as rice and alfalfa to those needing less water may alter the water use pattern to more secured state. Changing the law to permit farmers to sell surplus water to the highest bidders will promote economical use of water. Since 1992, this has been allowed in California, where an emerging network of specialist brokers sell agricultural water to cities for less than they already pay, but at a profit for the farmers. It requires both cities and rural areas to identify the source of water to be used before new developments can commence. We can increase the cost of water that people use. We can also use incentives for those who preserve water. And the best method by which rainwater can be conserved is rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting is a technique of collection and storage of rainwater into natural reservoirs or tanks, or infiltration of surface water into subsurface aquifers before it is lost as surface runoff. One method of rainwater harvesting is rooftop harvesting. Water can be used to intercept the flow of rainwater and provide a household with high quality drinking water and year-round storage. Other uses include water for gardens, livestock, and irrigation. The question still remains, what would be our future options? Developing new groundwater resources in the regions of water surplus and transferring it to water deficit area can be a solution. However, the transfer of this water from such areas would probably prove politically unacceptable. Any system of replenishing the groundwater naturally and to lead a lifestyle where less water is required is the panacea for water scarcity in the coming future. We must respect the water resource that we have. Otherwise, depletion is irreversible and it will go out of our reach very soon.